Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. Today is December 7th, 2025, and this is episode 120 of The Roads Not Taken, which is a weekly series where we go over the news that was unreported, underreported, didn't get the coverage we thought it deserved, or we just found it interesting. And then we go through a few questions from y'all. Today is December 7th, and today is National Cotton Candy Day. And on this date, a date which will live in infamy, in 1941, Japan hit Pearl Harbor. And starting with foreign policy, German youth are pushing back on new military recruitment rules, fearing a return to conscription. Demonstrations sprang up around the country. Slogans include, "You can't have our lives if we don't eat your lies." Putin said he would be ignoring Trump's pressure for India to buy less oil from Russia, and that the oil supplies would continue uninterrupted. EU leaders are racing to shore up funding for Ukraine, as the U.S. abandons its leadership position in the world. Ukraine's operations against Russia's shadow fleet are paying off, and its movements are significantly curtailed. One of Bolsonaro's sons has said he will run for president of Brazil. An investigation into the events aboard the USS Truman suggests the tempo of operations against the Houthis strained the crew and led to a series of major incidents. The U.S. released a national security strategy that is frankly embarrassing on a deep level. We'll have more on this on the main channel. In U.S. news, at time of recording on Saturday, the story of the motive of the man accused of planting devices at the RNC and DNC on Jan 6 was still evolving and dripping out into public view. Arizona's representative Adelita Grijalva says she was pepper sprayed during an ICE raid in Tucson. Republicans in the Indiana House have advanced a ridiculously gerrymandered map that would violate basic American ideals to the state Senate, where it faces an uncertain fate. Republicans still don't seem to have a plan to avoid the collapse of the ACA credits that will strip millions of health care. Security was upped for Representative Jamie Raskin after a pardoned January 6th defendant allegedly showed up near his house. The push for Hegseth to resign or be removed continues to grow. There is a move for impeachment, but it's unlikely to be able to gather the support it needs. The Supreme Court agreed to pick up Trump's birthright citizenship case. In cultural news, while the judgment isn't final, a commission has decided the Catholic Church will not ordain women as deacons. Trump had to hire a new architect for his billionaire ballroom at the White House, after he had clashes with the previous architect. Trump was widely mocked for receiving the FIFA, yes, the soccer organization, Peace Prize. In science news, the Paris Climate Accords in 2015 set the goal of keeping global temperatures at 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial temps. But a new study says we might have blown past that threshold in 2020. There is some debate because the study focused on one part of the ocean, but the new data is certainly going to adjust timelines. Trump's CDC advisors are upending decades of advisories on vaccines. Autism advocates are fighting back against RFK Jr.'s seemingly endless claims. The massive great white known as Contender was spotted off the coast of the Carolinas. In economic news, The Treasury Department posted a chart to its social media showing that the bond market was having incredibly high returns. They attempted to showcase it as a good thing, before being reminded by pretty much everybody that high bond market returns are a bad sign for the economy. We haven't seen returns like this in the bond market since, well, the last time Trump was in office. High returns are literally a sign of a slowing economy. The Core Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, showed a 0.2% monthly rise. The annual rate was 2.8%. Job postings are now drawing an average of 242 applicants. Business Insider pointed out that you're now more likely to get into Harvard. There were more than 1.1 million announced layoffs this year, the worst year since, well, the last time Trump was in office. In oddities, Vance. It was reported that the vice president sent a bizarre late-night text to Hegseth's bombing chat group that said, quote, "This chat's kind of dead. Anything going on?" A Faberge egg was recovered from a man accused by police of swallowing it in the jewelry store. The roughly $20,000 egg was retrieved after days of waiting for it to exit his body. On to the Q&A. Our first question. I almost commented that the Trump Institute for Peace would probably give him a peace prize, and this happened. He's too predictable. It was probably a deal to keep him from trying to move matches from Seattle, which is the soccer capital of the U.S., and guaranteed sellouts for all of the matches held here. This is, of course, a reference to Trump's FIFA Peace Prize. We haven't heard anything about any deals to obtain his Peace Prize. The incredibly bizarre chain of events leading to this award and the creation of the award, while Trump was campaigning for a Nobel Peace Prize, is just something else. It'll be mocked for decades to come. I saw this and I'm surprised it's getting little traction. Sure, Americans spent more money, but they bought less, and the rise in dollar amounts over Black Friday were because of inflation. Yeah, we briefly mentioned this as a footnote in another video, but there is so much news breaking right now that most channels are just trying to keep up with the endless fire hose of news. I'm watching the main channel video, Let's Talk About Trump's Third World Policies and Thanksgiving Day Message. In it, you offhandedly mention that Finland used to be a third world country. Now, as a Finnish person, I was very surprised by this. I've never heard it. Maybe you could do a deep dive into the term third world country. How did it start and how is it used today? Okay, initially in widespread U.S. usage, the terms first, second, and third world related to their alignment during the Cold War. First was NATO aligned, second was Warsaw Pact aligned, and third was non-aligned. So Ireland, Switzerland, and Finland were third world. Over time, news reports talking about military operations in third world countries outside of Europe led people to associate it with poorer countries. Then it just completely took on that meaning for most Americans, and the original terminology was lost. So that looks like it. A little more information, a little more context, and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.